So I don't have an intro to this video. I'm just cute. But anyways, hello YouTube. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Trey Francis. I am a screenwriter and an actor. And in this recap/review, we are going to be talking about season 1, episode 5 of I May Destroy You. It is a BBC show, right? It is a show that is based out in London. However, we get it on HBO here, which I'm so thankful for because, like I said, and I love to give artists our props. This show is created by Michaela Cole. It is written by Michaela Cole. It is also starring Michaela Cole. So we love to see it. We love to see it. Essentially, if you are new here, please consider subscribing. If you're new here, subscribe, damn it. Also, hit the like button and leave a comment down below because all of that stuff helps. So thank you for anyone who's watching. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. So to start off this episode, we open up the opening image. We see Arabella. She's waking up. She's at Zane's place and she's all like lovey-dovey on him. And remember, for her, for the therapist told her, which I was like, because this is my thought. I was wondering why she was in this bed, but this person who had done something to her in the last episode that we could all see was like not so good, right? Right. But however, the therapist had told her, coloring is very good, yoga is very good, cuddling up in bed, that's very good. All these things are can help you, right, get through what it is that you're going through, and give you some peace of mind. So she had been taking these things seriously, and so she was still with him. So that was my thought process when we opened up the image of both of them being in bed. So then the alarm goes off. She gets out of bed. She starts doing some of the yoga, and she finishes the yoga, which she wasn't quite taken seriously. But then she starts to listen to some podcasts, and she's swiping through, just listening to different podcasts, and she stumbles across one where they're talking about basically consent, and they're talking about what is and isn't considered rape or an assault on someone's body, right? And they utilize the same line that Zane had given her in the prior episode about, oh, I thought you knew I took it off. I thought you could feel it, right? They use those exact same lines in this podcast saying that, no, this person is basically like predatory. You know what I mean? So Arabella gets up and she runs out of the place while Zane is in the bathroom taking a shower. She gets the fuck up out of there, right? Right. So then we see Arabella, she's at the hair salon and she's kind of wanting something different, but she doesn't know what it is. And so she kind of tells her stylist, hey, you do what you think is best. Like, you figure something out, but I'm done with this wig. I'm done with this, help me out. So while she's at the hair salon, she gets a call from her manager basically saying, or her agency basically saying, hey, like, we had to have this meeting with you. We there's some news we want to share with you. Get over here as soon as possible, essentially. So the next scene we see Arabella. She's meeting up with her agency, and when she walks into the room, of course she's late. She walks into the room and the head person is there, like the head boss, right? She's there, and it's none other than a black woman named Susie. And I guess because of the name, she didn't think that the head boss was going to be named Susie. However, it is, and so she likes that, right? She perks up and she's like, oh, it's you. Like, she you're the one that I'm reporting to. Like, you're above, like, these people who's been annoying me these past few months asking me for this draft. You know what I mean? And so there's a sense of, like, connectiveness, right? Because oftentimes, a lot of times we be the only person in the room. Just we be by ourselves. And I saw on Twitter, and I wish I could remember who said it, but I saw it on Twitter earlier where someone was just like, being the only I'm an black person. Being the only black person in the room does not make me feel exceptional. It doesn't, because am I exceptional because I'm around y'all? Like, or is it based off of me specifically? You see what I'm saying? Like, that doesn't. Yeah, so I don't like that, and I'll be honest. There was a time where I did like that. When I was younger and I was naive and I didn't know any better. However, it makes me quite uncomfortable being the only black person in a space. You know what I mean? And so I know in my last 2 years in LA, I made it 2.5 years. I made a grand effort, right, to seek out places and spaces, right, in faces that looked like my own. You know, it was very, 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 very much so important to me. And so yeah, so now she's like perked up. She usually comes in and she's bullshitting everybody. And this time in the meeting, she's very forthcoming. She's very just honest about her experience. She admits to everyone in the room that, hey, you know, I was actually raped, and that's why I was late, because I was at a police station, and her agents, her two white agents, they had no clue, right? But there's this comfortability that she feels with Susie, that she opens up in that way to her. So while she's there, Susie asks her, hey, like, we you know, I'm kind of liking the direction that this book is going in. Would you mind reading like an excerpt from it at a writer's summit later tonight? Bella's not quite feeling up for it, so she asks, hey, can a friend read it? And the lady goes, is the friend black? And Arabella goes, yes. And the lady's like, perfect. You know what I mean? Like, let's do it. So next we jump over and we see Bella, Terry, and Kwame. They're all at the station because the police has some new person of interest. They've gotten the DNA sample results from her clothing, and they're kind of wanting to test out some other people's DNA who are suspects, you know, according to the police. And so one of the people that they mentioned is, hey, like, you know, Biagio, like, we've found him. We need you to tell him, hey, this is the situation. This is what happened. You know, your drink was spiked, you were raped, and we need a sample from him. Like, and he has to oblige. You know what I mean? There's no getting out of this, right? Of course, that's hard for her because, you know, for her, Biagio was a summer fling. She wanted there to be something more from it. However, he wasn't trying to really do that. And so she just kind of has this like apprehension towards, there's some trepidation there towards telling him about what happened to her. Not only what happened to her, but hey, like, you're a suspect, you know? So while they're there, you can see like this whole exchange is very uncomfortable for Kwame because he just had an experience where he was sexually assaulted in the previous episode. So he's not even taking kind to any of this information, right? Right. Bless me. So anyways, so then we see Bella and Zane. They're painting. She's at his place. They're painting, right? And Zane's kind of like, oh, hey, like, why did you run out the other day? Like, that was weird. That was interesting. And, like, how come you never told me about you being raped? You know what I mean? Like, I would have loved to have known this information. And, you know, before we did anything together, unbeknownst to him, you know, what he did to her was also very much so an assault on someone's body. And so she was just like, you know, I just didn't, you know, hey, you know, I've said it now you know, and that's where it's at. And of course, during this whole exchange, like, he keeps hearing her say, like, his name. Like, he's fearful that she's saying his name. And so he'll be like, wait, what? Like, what did you say? He's like, oh, I just said da-da-da-da-da. And wasn't even referring to him. However, you know, when you have a guilty conscience, you think everything is about you when perhaps it's not, right? Right. So then we move over to... So then Kwame goes to report his case by himself because he feels, I guess, a little bit of like, okay, so something also happened to me. It wasn't pleasurable. It wasn't what I wanted. I did resist. I did say no. How can I go and tell this story and when I'm so unsure about the parameters of like kind of what constitutes as rape and or assault and what doesn't, you know what I mean? It was like this gray area for him. So he goes to a police report. The male police officer that he was talking to was very uncomfortable with hearing him, I believe, perhaps speak about a gay sort of intercourse, you know, a male-on-male sexual happening. And so he's making it very uncomfortable for Kwame. He's also making it very difficult for Kwame to open up. And I love that in the show that they're also showing that things like this happen to men and how difficult it can even be for a man to go and report it, because it's difficult no matter who this happens to, right? You feel ashamed, you feel guilty, you feel, you because society tells you, we see it time and time again. Society says that, oh, it's your fault. If you didn't do this, if you didn't do this, this wouldn't have happened to you. It gets hard to build up the courage, right? The bravery to actually go into one of these places and say like, hey, this is what happened to me. And of course, the guy, he gets up, oh, I gotta go talk to a superior because this feels like a He comes back saying some more stupid stuff, and basically it's just not going well. So then we jump up from that place, and now we're at we see Terry and Bella. They're over at the summit, and Terry initially, she's feeling herself. She's like, hey, like, how do people gonna be here? Like, I'm ready to do this. Like, the more the merrier, right? Like, I'm about to get on stage and kill this shit. Like, this is what I do. I'm a performer. I'm an actor. I'm a artiste. Like, I'm a creative. Like, don't worry about me. Like, I got this shit. So as the time approaches, Terry ain't having none of this shit. She's like, okay, what the fuck is going on? I gotta get on stage. I gotta get on stage. No, ma'am, me, I can't do it. Like, it's like, there's a such thing as stage fright, right? So she's backing out of it. She's like, I cannot go up on this stage. Like, it ain't gonna happen. You own your own, Bella. Figure this shit out. So she leaves from behind the stage. She goes, right? She goes back into the audience. And so when they call Bella's name, before Bella's name is called, they also call Zayn on stage and some other guy. And then they call Bella on stage and Terry. However, Terry leaves from behind the stage, but Bella has to go up there by herself. So as Bella gets up there to start telling her side of the story, or supposed to be reading her script, right? Or not her script, but an excerpt from her book, she goes off script. And she begins to talk about how Zayn sexually assaulted her. Remember, he's on stage, so now he's starting to shift in the seat. He's uncomfortable. People are looking at him. People start taking out some their cell phones, stuff like this, because she's having a moment where she's telling the truth. She's being honest. She's saying, hey, this is what happened to me. And this person that we're up here congratulating and yada, 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 he was the one who did it to me. And so Zayn, out of uncomfortableness, out of, embarrassment, right, he gets up to try to escape. And, Terry gets him on her camera. There's other people who pull out their cameras now. Lights are in his face and stuff. And he runs out of the room, ashamed, I guess. And so then we get back over to Kwame and the police department, and basically Kwame is just like, he's had enough. Like, there's nothing that he could do, because the guy comes back in and basically goes, oh, well, this was a situation. It wasn't really an assault, because this was a situation where you actually agreed to meet up with this person because you went over to his place and you set this up on Grindr, which is a sex app. And it's just like, no, none of that matters at the end of the day. If I don't care what I did leading up to the moment, if in that moment the person says they no longer want this, we could have had sex 20 minutes ago. And now it's the present moment, 20 minutes later, and I say, no, like, I don't want you, like, get off of me, and you continue to do what you did to me, that's no longer consensual. But he said, the police are like, oh, this is a consensual matter, so this really is an assault, so, we can take a statement, but there's nothing that we're going to be able to do about it. And how many people have heard that stupid shit before? You know what I mean? So this is really shedding a light on how difficult the process can be, not only for the person to, right, to muster up the courage and the strength to go into a place and say, like, hey, this happened to me, right? But then to face to face someone on the other end of hearing your story tell you that that's not what happened, that what you think it is isn't what it is. That's fucking difficult. So he gets up, he leaves, and nothing really comes of it at this point, right? So then we hop back over. Bella's at home now. Kwame's at home. The videos that have been shared, they've sort of gone viral, right? And Bella is expressing to Biagio, she's on Skype or whatever with Biagio, she's letting him know, like, hey, like, you have to go down. And he's like yelling at her, he's pissed off, and he's accusing her, basically saying, like, hey, if you were watching your drink, you would have never been raped. And I was just like, whoa, what? Like, 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 what? this is why we say, you know what I mean? Because people get very hostile, people get very defensive, and that leads to that people get very aggressive, which when you're in that sort of, it leads to physical violence. So it's hard to come out and it's hard to say what happened to you in these sort of situations because people get really scary, right? So she basically, before she shuts the computer, she basically is like, fuck you and never talk to me again. And she slams the computer shut and she starts to cry. It's short-lived because Bella is a ball of a lot of different things at this moment. And so she starts taking some pictures about sort of trying to like empower herself. It looks like she posts them on Instagram and someone likes it, and that means the world to her. And that's how this episode ends. So yes, so I wanted to get this up because this was from last week's episode. The next episode, of course, comes on tomorrow, Monday, here in the US. And so I will watch it, and then we're gonna get our review up no later than Tuesday. Okay, we're gonna get back on track with these fucking videos. So I promise you that. So yes, that's all I have for you guys in this video. Again, if you're new here, please hit the subscribe button. Also, give me a thumbs up for this video and leave a comment down below. Let me do a question because I really didn't say a question in this video, but let's say a question. Do we think? What do we think Kwame should do next? Like, what is something that he should do next? How can he tell someone and have something be done? How do we do that? What do we think Kwame can do? And then also, as for Bella, do we see before the end of this season, I think we only have like a few episodes left, do we see before the end of this season Bella finding a way in which she can release and let this stuff go? Because I would say it's something that affects you for a very long time and it's hard to deal with. So do we see an escape? Do we see I feel like she's just waiting to exhale. Do we see that exhale moment for Bella anytime soon? So those are my two questions that I have for you guys. Leave a comment down below and I will see you guys and girls in the next one. Bye.